Hello and good morning or afternoon or midday or lunchtime, wherever you happen to be watching us from. I am Kyle O'Brien, managing editor of Indie Agency News. We are here for another episode of Indie Thinking Live. Thank you for joining us, or thank you for tuning in if you're watching this later. We today have really interesting conversation coming up with one of our few members from the Indianapolis area. That would be Young and Laramore. Actually, they are our only Indianapolis member, and we're really happy to have them. They're part of our Midwest Heartland region, which also encompasses Indianapolis, Kansas City, Minneapolis, and St. Louis. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Today, we're going to be talking with Tom Denari, President and CEO of Young and Laramore, about something maybe indie agencies might dream of, and that is creating something the industry needs and wants. 5 years ago, Tom and his team saw a gap in the conference landscape that nobody else was filling. So while everybody else was chasing trends, there was nowhere for marketers to learn from the actual academics studying human behavior. So they built something. Why not? They called it Unreasonable Conference. And now, 5 years later, it's the only event bringing researchers from places like Wharton, Cornell, and Emory directly to marketing professionals. So we're going to dive behind that today. So let's bring Tom Denari on stage. Thank you, Tom, for joining us.
Thanks, Cal. Good to be here.
Absolutely. Great to have you. So let's talk about Unreasonable. What brought that together? 5 years ago, you decided to create a conference. What was the moment you realized that the marketing industry was missing something important? And how did you go from that gap exists to, hey, we're going to actually do this ourselves?
Yeah, it wasn't a single moment. I think it's just, in working with clients over time and seeing research that was not done effectively, it became clear that this needed to happen. And I'll back up a little bit. I think
Okay.
as humans, we are all kind of fooled by our own sense of our own rationality. What I mean by that is we tend to think that we take on a bunch of facts and we weigh those facts and make decisions. But we know that there's plenty of research now out there that says that's not the case. Usually what happens is we get a feeling about something, and maybe that feeling is something that's even below the surface of our consciousness. And a lot of times we'll make a decision and then use the facts to justify that. So when you're in these client meetings and you're talking about this dynamic, you feel like you have to kind of bounce back a little bit, start to enter brain science and talk about psychology. And, you could really ruin a meeting by having to, back up and really try to educate people on how people actually make decisions.
Sure.
And so, you think, oh, we could write a book, we could do something like this or that. And finally, we said, you know what, let's pull a conference together, invite marketers, open to the public, assemble the actual academics that are doing the field work, the research on a daily basis, and have them come in and present what they're doing and how it applies to business and decision making in general.
Yeah. So talk a bit about, I mean, year one. How do you convince these people that these academics that, hey, this is going to be good for the business world. This is going to be good for the academic world. And how do you keep it from not getting too dry and still, getting across the information you need to get across?
Really good question. Yeah. When we first talked about it, it was kind of a triangulation of, would the speakers want to do it? Would people want to come? What would it cost? How could we pull this all together? So I just had various meetings with senior marketing leaders saying, hey, what if we put something like this together? I talked with academics. Would you come to this thing? And from that point, then it was just kind of a leap of faith. What I did was I attracted and basically reached out to academics of books I had read, research that I had studied. And for me, I kind of describe it as almost like Christmas morning, because it's these people that I've been studying their work and respect a heck of a lot. And I would say the first year was the hardest year to attract speakers, only because they weren't sure what this was either. And what I told them is, this is not an academic conference. This is a conference, you're talking to marketers. You're not talking to people that are trying to punch holes in your research.
Right.
You're trying to apply what it is that you have learned, and help marketers understand what it really means. So that first year, like I said, was was the hardest year, and every year recruiting speakers has been easier and easier because they respect those speakers that came before them so much. It's like, oh, Kelly Goldsmith was in this. Oh, then yeah, I'm totally on board. So that's been great to see because um, the legitimacy of the speakers we've had over time has been really stellar.
Right. And let's talk a little about the growth of it because obviously this is something very new to our industry. I mean, neuroscience has been used before, certainly, but I don't think a lot of it has been done with the practicality and especially at a level like this. So how do you convince people to come to this? Again, we're going back to the beginning because obviously you've had sellouts and everything since, but how do you convince people to come to this and say, okay, this is really going to be good for my business? It's not as academic as you think it is, but it definitely is something you need to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we've told the speakers is that we want you to make it accessible. I mean, I think the best way to think about it is kind of like a TED talk. The talks are 20 to 25 minutes. They're pretty brief. You get a little bit of the research background, and then you get the application of it. And so what we do is we will have a total of 7 speakers, and then the last session will be our head of strategy, Carrie O'Neill, and myself, and we'll basically weave a thread through the day of everything that's been talked about and then apply it to some real world case studies that might be our clients, might not be our clients, to help people understand how these concepts have been applied over time.
Gotcha.
And so we'll do those 2 talks, 2 20-minute talks, and we'll do a Q&A, and we'll take a break, and then we'll do that 3 more times. And so the cadence and the energy of it stays high because you're not hearing somebody drone on for an hour. They get 25 minutes, and they're pretty quick.
Yeah, and obviously you're talking to people who want to learn this because it's going to be better for business. I mean, there's always a business case to be made for this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Already we're having people that are listening and asking how to get there. So here's the website. Tell people when it is and how they can sign up for the event.
Yeah, the event is Friday, September 26th. If you go to unreasonableevent.com, you can find tickets there. It's really an energizing event. When we've done surveys afterwards, we get like a 90% return rate in terms of usually if people can't make it, it's because the schedule doesn't work. We're doing it on a Friday this year. We've not done one on a Friday before. We're trying something different. But I hope that works out for people. Usually Friday's kind of more of a lighter travel day for people, so hopefully that works out well.
Yeah, that's great. And where is it again?
It's in Indianapolis, and it's at Newfields, which is the home of the Indianapolis Museum of Art. And so it's in a theater setting. It's a beautiful facility. We'll have the first 2 sessions in the morning, and then we all head down to a lunch together, and then come back and do 2 more sessions, and then we're done. And we've tried to make this event as pure as we can. It's not a sales pitch from a bunch of vendors trying to sell you on anything. We have one sponsor, Cummins, who is a client of ours, and they've been great supporters of the conference, and they bring a bunch of people to it as well. So they've been a good sponsor for the last couple of years. But the main thing is about learning and really understanding what makes consumers do what they do.
It's great. Obviously a really great event. Let's talk a little about what it's done for the agency. How long has Young Laramore been around now?
Since 1983, so we're more than 40 years old. I've been here 36 of those years, so
Wow,
long time.
okay.
Yeah,
You've seen it grow. So, how has Unreasonable changed the agency's positioning in the market? Has it opened doors? Has what's you talk about business impact in Unreasonable. So, what has been the business impact for you?
Yeah. I think it's reinforced how we've always been very serious about studying consumers and consumer behavior. We do our own qualitative research. We believe in doing one-on-one, in-depth interviews where our entire teams are involved. Creative people, strategy people, media people, account people are all involved in these one-on-one interviews. And so that's always been part of our DNA as an agency to do great creative and strategy work. And so this is really an extension of that. It it works in a number of different ways. I think it's great for our clients. It helps educate them about consumers. It's obviously something great for the industry. Again, anyone is welcome to come to this event.
Mhm.
And it also does work as a business development event too, because it gives us access to brands and clients that may not know us, and they might come in through the unreasonable door and get to know us a little bit this way too. So it works in a lot of different fashions.
Certainly. And so, I mean, this is year 5 sold out events. And I'm sure other agencies have tried to copy this model. So how do you stay ahead and decide, you know, what to expand versus how to keep it intimate and valuable? I mean, obviously you want this to keep growing, but you also want to keep it tight.
Yeah, it's a good question. Right now, the venue is what kind of keeps the boundary on it at this point. In terms of the seating, it's really the lunch is the boundary more than the theater, actually. So if we get to a point where we need to crest out of new fields, I think that's something we'll look at. That'd be a great problem to have. We're not quite there yet, where it's to the point where we're bursting at the seams. But that's why we're doing things like this to get more publicity and help people really see what this event's about.
Sure. And I mean, obviously you're talking about business opportunities when in this, but I mean, the networking from being there, just showing that you have like minds, I'm sure can lead to other business wins, or at least connections for people.
Yeah, and we've had people, clients that we haven't. We had one client in particular who didn't choose us uh, in the pitch process, and but they came to the event and stayed in our orbit. And then 2 years later, we were working with them. So it's a great event for networking for us with potential clients, but also with individuals too, to interact with other marketers throughout the country.
That's great. So for indie agency owners listening to think, hey, this sounds expensive and possibly risky. So break down what the real investment and timeline to make something like this work. What would you tell another indie agency or any agency that sees the gap that they could fill? Not necessarily this, because you've already filled it, but how would you tell them to go about making their own event?
Yeah, I mean, the way we look at it, if we're breaking even on it, I'm fine. You know, it's an investment to some extent, and I would say it takes pretty close to a year to do it. And the reason is because I will, like, once we get past this one, I will start the recruiting process for the speakers right away, because I tried to assemble the speaker set in a way that's diverse, from point of view, from subject matter, from school, from gender, all because I don't want it to be monolithic. So
Right.
it's kind of a step process as I go. And then, once we lock on the speakers, which might take close to 6 months, because they've got teaching schedules, they're trying to figure out when they can come and if they can and if they can't. And then we'll start the promotion process. And that usually starts about 5 months from the event, to start promoting it and selling tickets. Um, so the main expenses we have are obviously the speakers bringing, they're getting paid,
Mhm.
got to get them here, got to, house them and things like that. The event venue, and then the catering of the event. So if you come to this event, you're taken care of the whole time. You're here the whole time. We're feeding you and all that, and even have a cocktail party at the end. So it's a fun day for people.
Yeah, it sounds great. And obviously it's had some influence. You had a South by Southwest panel last year,
We
correct?
did, yeah. We were able to take three of our, I call unreasonable alumni. Last year, we're in the picker panel again this year, and we had a sold out room. Our room was completely full for our panel, and people were very energized by the speakers we had.
It's fantastic. One more question, then we'll give you another plug for this. But what's been the most surprising outcome of creating this, that you've had so far in the 5 years that you've been doing this?
There are a couple. One is, I think our people are really energized by it. I think people love working on this. I think people enjoy seeing it and getting the learning and the knowledge. It makes them. I think it makes them feel good that we're doing something like this and we're a part of it. Um, the other thing that I didn't really understand when we started was how tight the community of these academic marketers are. They know each other. And like I said, they enjoy the event as much as the people attending because they're learning from each other and that interaction as well. And you kind of feel that energy from them. They're excited to be there. And that comes through on stage when they're giving their talk. So it's a lot of fun for them too.
Yeah, certainly. And a listener says IRL events for the win. So yeah.
Yeah, people have asked me about that, and for now, we're going to keep it a live event. Streaming events. This is fine for this one-on-one thing, and it's a short thing. But a full day of doing that, that would be really hard
Yeah.
to stay connected and again, just the energy and that interaction with people at the event is invaluable.
Sure. I mean, because you're all of like minds there. You're all there to learn. You're all there to talk to each other about what's going on. So I think it's a fantastic event, and I hope that you get a great turnout. Again, let's put up the website here. If you do want to sign up for it, register today at unreasonableevent.com. Anything else to add, Tom?
No, I really appreciate you doing this, and it's great to have this energy from these indie agencies. We're smaller but pretty mighty, and appreciate you guys supporting us in this way, and appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Again, Tom Denari, President and CEO of Young and Laramore. Please go sign up for the Unreasonable event and enjoy and learn. And Tom, thank you so much for being on this episode of Indie Thinking. I do appreciate it. And we will be seeing all of you soon. We have many more shows coming up. So just check our schedule out at indieagency.news. And thanks to everyone.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.